You are standing in your backyard on a humid July morning. Mosquitoes are biting your ankles, your neck, your wrists. You have been outside for 4 minutes. 4. Last week you spent $200 on spray. It did almost nothing. Now, I want you to sit with this for a moment. Those mosquitoes did not blow in from the swamp down the road. They hatched 50 feet from where you are standing, maybe less. I have spent 20 years teaching people to kill mosquitoes before they ever bite. My grandmother in rural Japan never waited for the adults to appear. She eliminated the water. The eggs had nowhere to go. Here is what I am going to show you in the next 30 days. Week 1. I will walk you through every hidden breeding site in your yard. You will drain, empty, and treat standing water with 0 chemicals. That single day of work eliminates 80% of your mosquito population before it hatches. Week 2. I show you the surface technique that kills the survivors in their water. Week 3. You will build the scent barrier that keeps new ones away. By week 4, your yard enters a lock, a maintenance rhythm that holds for the entire season. Now, stay with me through all of this, because near the end I will show you the part most people never discover about the 30-day cycle itself. It changes when you do the work, and most people do it backwards. Here is where we start, the breeding ground assault. You are going to walk your yard like a detective, looking for water. Not ponds, not streams, the small, hidden stuff. A bottle cap, a clogged gutter, a flower pot saucer under your downspout. A single female mosquito lays 100 to 300 eggs at a time. In warm weather, those eggs hatch in less than 2 days, 48 hours. Then you have thousands. But if the water is gone before that window closes, the eggs never hatch. That is the entire game. That is why my grandmother's method worked then and works now. Tomorrow morning, I walk you through the 7 places nobody checks first. But before we do that work, there is a technique you need to know about the water you cannot drain. That is the real secret most yards miss. You have found the breeding sites, and now comes the move that stops 80% of them mid-cycle. Water that sits for 3 days begins to hatch. Water that sits for 7 days produces flying adults. I do not wait for that. Here's what I do instead. You are standing beside a bird bath or a gutter or a bucket that cannot be emptied. The larva is down there, its siphon tube already reaching upward toward the surface to breathe. It must break the water surface. That is not a choice. It is biology. I take a thin film of mineral oil, food-grade sesame oil, or neem oil, and spread it across the top. A few drops per square foot of water. That is all. The oil spreads thin, thinner than human hair, and coats the entire surface. When the larva rises to breathe, it pushes its siphon through that film instead of through air. The oil clogs it. The larva cannot exhale the carbon dioxide trapped in its body. Within hours, not days, hours, it drowns in its own breath. This works on all 4 stages of the larva, the smallest newborn and the largest one ready to pupate. It works on the pupa too. The tumbler breathes through 2 trumpets on its back. Same vulnerability. Now, here is where I tell you the honest part. An oil film breaks if you miss 1 corner of the water, or if rain falls and spreads it thin. A single oil-free zone is enough for a larva to find air and survive. So, I check every surface I treat, every corner. No shortcuts. For permanent water, ponds, ornamental features, I use BTI, a bacterium that kills larvae from inside their gut. One BTI dunk treats 100 square feet for 30 days. Safe for fish, safe for birds, safe for you. For containers, for gutters, for anything I can refill, the oil method is faster and costs nearly nothing. I reapply every 5 to 7 days, or the moment after rain hits the yard. This is the Week 1 pace. Survey, drain, and treat every standing water source simultaneously. Miss one bottle cap, one saucer, one downspout, and you restart the whole countdown. Now that those larvae are suffocating beneath the surface, the adults above ground become your next problem. And the method I use to keep them out of your yard entirely is something most people never even attempt. Now that your standing water is sealed, we move to Week 2, and the work shifts above ground. You are standing at your yard's edge as the sun dips lower, watching the light turn gold. This is when the adult mosquitoes wake. This is when they hunt. They do not see you yet. They smell you. A mosquito finds its way by reading 3 invisible things: your breath, your heat, your skin scent. Block one of these signals, and the mosquito cannot land. For 20 years, I have used the Japanese plant barrier, and I start with lemongrass. Cymbopogon citratus grows fast, smells sharp, and fills the air with citral, a compound that masks your CO2 plume. You plant it in a line along your yard's edge, 3 feet apart, before dusk today. The roots go in now, because the volatile oils peak at dawn tomorrow. If you cannot plant lemongrass, I use lavender. Lavandula angustifolia, the narrow leaf kind. It holds linalool in its flowers, and mosquitoes read that as a warning and veer away. Here is where it gets interesting. A single lavender plant releases its scent continuously, but the wind carries it. A hot day evaporates it fast. So, I also spray. This is the formula I learned from my grandmother's notes. I take a clean spray bottle, fill it half with water, add 3 drops of peppermint oil, add 1 drop of clove oil, Syzygium aromaticum, the flower bud oil, very strong. Add a teaspoon of dish soap. This is the emulsifier. It holds the oil in the water. Shake it hard. The mixture should look milky, not clear. I spray this along the fence line, around the entry gates, under the eaves where they rest at dusk. The soap breaks the oil into tiny particles the water can carry as mist. Do not spray the plants themselves. Spray the air and the ground where they gather. Reapply every 3 days or after rain. The volatiles evaporate. You must refresh them. And I have to be honest with you about this one. This barrier works best when the wind blows from behind your yard outward. If the wind pulls toward you from the neighbor's side, the scent wall weakens. Check your prevailing breeze before you spray. Turn a leaf and watch it. One more thing most people miss. Do this work in the hour before true dusk. The mosquitoes are rising, their sensory organs sharpening, their flight pattern tightening to your yard. You want your barrier live when they are hunting hardest. But this perimeter alone is only the first line. There is a second layer you must know. The perimeter is holding. And now comes the part I promised you at the very beginning. Remember when I said the real secret most people never discover? It is not one method. It is the timing of all 3 together. You are standing in your yard on day 22 of the first cycle. The breeding water is gone, The larva traps are working. The scent barrier is solid. But here is what happens on day 23 if you do nothing. The first batch of adults you killed or repelled, their eggs hatch into larvae right now. A new generation surfaces to breathe. The oil film is gone. Wind broke it on day 19. Your yard falls silent for 48 hours. Then the biting starts again. This is the gap window. This is where 90% of DIY attempts fail. I do not skip week 4. Neither do you. Week 4 is not a rest. It is the overlap that locks everything in place. On day 28, I reapply the residual perimeter spray, permethrin or pyrethrin, full circuit. This spray lasts 21 to 30 days. It overlaps with week 1 of cycle 2. The moment cycle 1's adult spray fades, cycle 2's spray is already holding the perimeter. No gap, no window, no restart. On day 29, I inspect every water source again: gutters, saucers, tarps, leaf pits. Any new standing water gets BTI immediately. It will not develop larvae before cycle 2's week 1 treatment. I also pull a simple log from my pocket and write down every date, every site, every product. A notebook. That is the tool nobody wants to hear about, but it is the difference. You are standing at the edge of your garden on September 15th. It is dusk, the season's worst month for mosquitoes. You feel nothing. No itch, no welts, no swatting, just evening air. That is the 30-day lock system working exactly as it should. Here is my question for you. Which of these 3 methods, water removal, larva treatment, or perimeter spray, feels hardest for you to maintain? I read every comment you leave. Tell me where the friction is, and I will answer it. Because the system only holds if all 3 keep turning. That is the whole thing.